My name is Isaac Brown. I'm from East Pikeland in Chester County, Pennsylvania. The main reason I'm supporting Keith Eldridge for District Justice is because of his stance on asset forfeiture. His opponent is a police officer that has taken part in asset forfeitures in our areas. An asset forfeiture that happened to me greatly affected my ability to run a business in this area. So, roughly 7 years ago, I was pulled over while driving. I just left a bank where I was going to make a deposit with some of the money that I had to buy products for the store, antiques and such. We had been out shopping all day and didn't find anything that was quite suitable. I left the bank and I was pulled over. The police officer told me I did not put my turn signal on. I wasn't really in a position to argue with him. He asked for the right to search the vehicle. I consented. I didn't think I had anything to hide. During the search, he found the $9,000, and he said it was banded in a way to indicate that it was used for criminal activities. I just had it separated in different stacks for the items that we were looking at supposedly buying. I stood there it took roughly an hour and a half. The police officer called ICE agents who came down. At the end of the incident, they left with my money and left me there with no ticket, with no criminal charges, and left me there with the vehicle. I had to get a lawyer to sue the government to get my money back. That cost me roughly $7,000 to win back my $9,700, all of which I was not able to get back from the government. So I only was able to get $2,700 back from the money that they took from me after it was all said and done. And it greatly damaged our ability to have a big, full, open store when the time came to open, because we were only about a month or two away from our hard opening. I feel people should know that they can have their money and property seized without the government ever filing any charges against them. And that if they're not careful with the people that they vote for, it could happen to them. Steel Eagle Antique started when my friend and his father from Colorado they were out here visiting family, and they realized how abundant antiques are in this area, and how people like to go shopping for them. Out in Colorado where they are, they were saying that the antiques date from the Western time period, which isn't as far back as you can buy them from here on the East Coast. It's older stuff that you're able to get out here. So him and his father were the owners. I'm local, so I was introduced to them, and I was the manager. I was able to buy some items and put them in the store on consignment so that I could make money and sell things too, in addition to running the store. So some of that money was theirs, but also some of it, a great deal of it was mine. But all of it was the store's. It hurt. The fact that we were, trying to start a business, in a small business in a town that was on its way up and coming, and that was most of the money we had set aside to buy stuff that we didn't already have. Because he had a shop in Colorado, he was able to bring stuff from the shop, so we were able to have some stuff in the shop already. But most of the things that we were going to buy locally was with that money. That was well over half of the money that we had saved. The police officer originally told me that he was part of a unit that was searching for guns in the area, and did he mind if he searched my car. I didn't mind if he searched my car for anything because I didn't have anything to hide. So I gave him permission to search my car. Stupidly. Never, ever, ever give permission to the police to search your vehicle for any reason, because this is the kind of thing that can happen. So I gave them permission to search. He found the money, which was sitting in the middle console. It wasn't hidden. It wasn't out on the seat, but it wasn't hidden. It was sitting in the middle of the console. He found it, I think, along with a list of the places that I had been searching, trying to buy antiques or my schedule. When he found the money, he counted it. They called ICE that came in, the immigration people. He handed the investigation over to them. They counted the money, took a bunch of pictures of it, and said they were seizing it. And I didn't understand what was happening. To be perfectly fair, I'm glad there isn't a scene recording of that, because I was quite indignant. And I couldn't believe that I wasn't being charged with anything and that they could just take my money and leave and not charge me with a crime. I was always under the assumption that in order for your property to be seized, you had to be found guilty of a crime. I did not even know that they could take your items and your property and not even charge you with a crime, or not even be involved in an investigation. There was no investigation to file a charge later. This was, we don't think this is actually your money. We have no evidence of that. We're just going to take it until you can prove that it is yours. And proving that it is yours is going to cost you almost as much as we took. I'm not sure if you've been involved in a lot of situations like that with the police. They're not really very receptive to questioning when they're in that mode. Phoenixville police called Immigrations and Customs Enforcement when they found the money. I don't know why. When they left, they pulled away in their police cars and left me sitting in the parking lot, $9,700 poor, without even a traffic ticket for why I was originally pulled over. Would I be hesitant to have cash on me? Yes. Yeah, I don't know what amount of money actually it would take to trigger them to just feel like they could just take it. Honestly, I have no idea what that would if I just had $1,000, would they take it? How much is the point where they say I shouldn't? Simply by looking at me, they've decided that I shouldn't have that money. What level is that in their eyes? I don't really know. I hope people can understand that the voting and not voting, these are all choices that we make, and the choices that we make allow or do not allow these things to happen. And you should know the people that you support, what they think about these issues. Before I brought my case to my lawyer and he brought it to court, a judge never saw any of this decision. This was in the hands of the police. And someone like Keith's opponent, John Hipple, is a police officer that was involved in asset forfeiture. He's trying to run for a judge, which is going to give him a lot more power. And if he's going to use the power that he has like that, which is a presumption of guilt rather than a presumption of innocence, I just don't think a person like that should be a judge. But I know that a good deal of time, it happens to completely innocent people. It's shocking. First of all, it's shocking to me that it even happens. And then second of all, it's shocking how often that it does happen to innocent people. The reason I was so determined to get my money back was not even so much for the money as much as for the fact that I didn't want my name coming up on a list of every time I got pulled over thinking that I didn't even try to get my money back. So therefore, the police must have been correct in seizing it. I didn't want that to follow me around the rest of my life. So it was as much proving that I was innocent as trying to get the money back. So they put you on trial without ever charging you with a crime. And by the way, the trial that they are putting you in is not the same as a civil trial because they don't have the presumption. I don't get the presumption of innocence. All that's thrown out the window in asset forfeiture. You start out presuming that the government owns that money that they've taken from you. You have to prove that you were legally entitled to it. It just seems crazy that it's even legal. I'll be honest. When it was happening to me, I was saying, this can't be legal. What you're doing right now cannot be legal. Well, we'll see you in court. And I said, you bet your damn ass you're right, you will see me in court.